Hi everybody and welcome to Barefoot TV, an online TV program which provides you with easy access to knowledge, wisdom and guidance from myself and other leaders, experts and spiritual advisors to support you to transform, grow and connect with all things love, soul and spirit in your everyday lives. Now I am your host, Leanne the Barefoot Medium. I'm an international medium, twin flame, transformational coach and author. I am absolutely passionate about reconnecting people with their loved ones who've passed over, their spiritual guides and intuition, as well as providing access to practical knowledge, tools and techniques you can use in your everyday lives to shift through any limiting beliefs, stories, emotions, sabotage patterns and fears holding you back from keeping your dreams, and that are keeping your dreams an intangible, vague idea of what you want and stopping you from manifesting the life that you dream of. Kick off your shoes, sit back, relax and enjoy this episode of Barefoot TV, where my guest Justine Dean and I will be discussing being the best version of you. Now, Justine is a life coach, NLP coach and practitioner, timeline therapist and practitioner, hypnotherapist with a background in international public relations, customer service, sales, marketing management, as well as having experience running a sheep and cattle station, which I love, and being a wife, mum and stepmom. So Justine is absolutely a passionate connector, loves studying and teaching human behaviour and seeing clients experience extraordinary shifts in their relationships and their lives, bringing more control and happiness rather than running on auto in fear or making the same mistakes over and over again. So welcome, Justine.
Thank you so much, Leanne. Sorry, that was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Not at all. It sums up exactly who you are, and like I said, the topic for this show is the best version of you. So we are part of our experiences, and all of that brings you into who you are and brings all of those skills, even the sheep and cattle farming, into your everyday life, which I love.
Yes, I often have people say to me, gee, you've done a lot of things. And I think it's because they assume that I'm not as old as I am. Yeah. And, you know, I'm 50 in a couple of months, so I'm old enough to have done all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So can you tell people who are watching a little bit more about you, what you do, and how you're doing the work that you're doing with people and creating shifts and transformations for other people?
Yeah. I think it all started in my early 20s. I got married very young and I chose someone that was not good for me based on what I believed about myself and the world around me. And, you know, I know that now. So I chose the wrong person for me. And I spent years reading boxes of books on how to be a better wife, how to be a better partner, how to be a better person, because I believed there was something wrong with me. Mm. And the only thing that was wrong with me is that I had these horrible beliefs about myself. So every choice I was making every day, you know, was confirming that, because I was making choices based on the wrong compass. You know, my compass was all skew with. So I read lots and lots of books, and then I got into public relations and sales jobs, and I noticed that everyone else was a bit screwed up too. And I could see wonderful things in these people, and they couldn't see it in themselves. And I could see other people having the same patterns as me. So I started to study human behavior. More recently, in the last 3 years, I've done the NLP timeline and hypnotherapy training. So that's rounded out 20 or 30 years worth of reading lots of stuff. I actually had clinical depression, anxiety. I would have up to 5 panic attacks a day, sometimes passing out just out of, you know, stress. Had insomnia, horrible migraines. I would get 2 or 3 a week. and they would last for 1 or 2 days. So I was really incapacitated, but that was all of my stress and my distress manifesting itself physically. And once I, found myself and started working on myself, all of those symptoms started to disappear. And I got really excited about that. And I wanted to share that with others. So that's why I studied. I've been blessed to be able to do that a lot in the current job that I have. I work for Defence. So I designed a workshop where I teach people about how their brains are wired and love languages and personality types, because that's a wonderful way to wake people up and help them understand themselves. And so I'm doing that with Defence, and I also do it externally. And then through that, you touch people because you develop rapport as well. And they can see that they're learning things that they didn't know that they didn't know, which is really exciting for people. It's very profound. So you can tell I'm all excited about it.
I know, and I love how you talk about studying human behaviour, and there's a couple of things in there that I want to touch on. I'm a people watcher from way back, so I get it. And like you, I'm really good at spotting patterns and beliefs that other people have got playing out. But when it comes to ourselves, we really need to, have that other person to kind of go, hey, is that really true for you? And just question. So I love how you talk about that and say that relationships are where we learn most of it, and can be challenging or easy or however your story goes. And that's what I like to talk to my clients about as well is, well, what's your love story, or what's your money story? And really uncover those unconscious patterns or thoughts or beliefs that are playing out that drive the everyday behaviour, choices and decisions.
Oh, 100%. What you believe about yourself and the world shapes every decision you make. And that impact, so your choices impact your behaviour. Yeah.
So how do we start stepping back and going, what story have I got playing out here, and how's it impacting me? How do we start that process?
Well, you're a wonderful question asker. I think you have to really ask a lot of strategic questions. And I think a great coach is someone who loves and respects their client enough to push a little bit deeper and ask difficult questions. I've had clients say to me, and you would have experienced this too, oh my God, nobody would ever dare ask me that. And I think we don't ask the tough questions of the people we love because we're afraid of hurting their feelings. And are afraid of how they might react with us. But as a coach, they're the kind of questions that you need to ask. So questions about, noticing what patterns are in your life. Why are you here? Well, I can't seem to hold on to money, or I keep choosing terrible relationships, or actually more accurately, all men are horrible, or all women are gold diggers. Like looking for patterns. And then looking why you're choosing that.
Yeah. And I think that's the power of questioning, isn't it? And having someone that's really external of our own immediate family circle or friendship circle to be able to look at it from an objective perspective. And really, it's done with love and it's done with empowerment. But it's asking those tough questions, like you say. I'm not here to be your best friend. I'm here to ask you the questions that help you to get clear and to shift and transform and get where you want to go.
Absolutely. And I think as a coach, I know that my clients are limited by my belief in them. So that's the value in having someone that is not a family member and not a friend or not a work colleague, because they already have an opinion of you and they already know a little bit of your history.
Yeah.
So the lenses that they're looking at you through is how you'll experience that coaching session, no matter how much love is inside of that. Whereas if
Yeah.
you have a coach who doesn't know anything about you, but sees all the wonderful in you and the vulnerability in you, and is brave enough to ask those strategic questions, that's where it draws the magic out. That's where you get deeper.
Yeah.
You find that?
And I think when you're saying draw that magic out, it's really amazing watching a client have that realization of, oh, wow, that's the story I've had playing out. And that's why things are going the way they're going. And it's written all over their faces. And it's like, wow, okay, take a breath.
Yeah.
Let's move forward with a different one now.
Yeah, that's so true. And you know what's really interesting is that people will come to me with what they believe the problem is.
Mm.
And when you get to the bottom of it, it's totally not that. It's just manifesting as that, because it's easy to say that that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
And it's not something else. And I think people are really afraid to find out what's at the bottom of it all.
Yeah.
So it's about having a safe space for them as well to feel comfortable that they're not going to be judged for actually talking about what's going on.
Yeah. And I love that. And one of the things that, like I said, I share with clients is, tell me about your money story. If that's the issue that they've come to address, it's like, okay, tell me what's actually playing out. And oftentimes when you dig under that and hear those beliefs that are just coming out, or the emotions that sit with it that are like that big heavy baggage that they carry around, it's like, okay, so it's actually not about that. What it's about often is whether you're worthy or valued and how you see yourself in the world. And it's really interesting to uncover it.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what I find? I've coached everyone from students right through to high-level executives. The two most common, and it's literally with 99% of people, is I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough. Yeah.
And the one I hear often is, oh, I always make the wrong decisions, or I always do this, or it always happens, or it's never going to work out. And it's like, okay, always is a very long time.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay.
It's true. Like and the thing is, your subconscious mind is always looking for evidence to prove you right.
Yeah.
So if you're saying I always or I never, always and never are super dangerous, as you've just said, your subconscious mind goes, okay, and looks for ways to prove you right. It's such a powerful engine.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I had a coaching client last week that was about business, and I always have problems with my staff, and I always end up in arguments and confrontations. And I'm like, okay, let's really get to the bottom of that. And it's like, okay, are you directing this ship, or is your staff member directing the ship? And she went, oh, okay. So it was more about stepping up and going, you need to be a leader in this role rather than just allowing everybody else to dictate what goes on. And it's interesting once you play that story out where the issue really sits.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the other thing is, and this person you spoke to may have felt that too. Sometimes they don't know it, but they're waiting for someone to give them permission.
Yeah.
That it's okay to step into your power. That sounds like what that person experienced.
And it was because it was a family-owned business that mum ran, and she had to step in and take over. And it was like, hang on a minute, you're plugging holes, but you've got permission to own this business, don't you? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And that was all it took. So sometimes it's just a little shift in consciousness and awareness and being present to the story to go, do I still want to play this out and make this true?
Yeah, and you're right. It's the story we make. So when we're little, sort of between the age of 0 and 7, our reasoning mind hasn't kicked in yet. So we believe anything that we see, or we believe anything that we make up. So something will happen, and that's what's happened. and we make it mean something else. You know, I'm a bad girl, or I don't deserve this. And we don't question that. And that's the story we live with for the rest of our lives until we get some good coaching and we change the story. And you watch people fly. You'd see this all the time with what you do. Like once they change the story, their whole life changes.
Exactly. And I love how, you know, you do the same things and we do it in different ways, but it's about people getting attracted to different ways of shifting and transforming their mindsets, really, and their stories that they've got playing out. And I love that. You know, so it's so amazing how we all are here to support people and empower people, and we just do it differently. So thank you for sharing that. Talk to me a little bit more about, you know, when you work through that being the best version of you or being your best self, how do we embrace that?
I think we don't get taught a lot in school, and it doesn't really serve us because we learn what we live. So if our parents just, you know, if your mother takes care of herself a certain way or does not take care of herself, then you learn that. So if you have a mother who's always putting everybody else first and always taking care of everybody else, then you learn that she comes second, and you should do that because that's what a good mother does.
Yeah.
And so I coach a lot of mums, and they're like, oh, so I've had, on the weekend, I did a workshop at home, and this woman was in tears, and she said, but if I go and do something for myself, I'm leaving the boys home alone. They're 17 and 19. I said, they can make you worse. But she was still in that, I'm not a good mother if I'm not with them all the time. And she didn't even know what she loved. And I see this all the time where people do what they think they should do. So they don't do what they love to do, and they forget what that is. So when it comes to finding yourself and being the best version of you, I have people saying, I don't even know who I am. I mean, I'm a worker, a manager, a sports person, and a parent, but I don't know who I am. I'm just doing the things.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and go through a few exercises and work out what you really love and do some tasking around that, people are really surprised at what they come back to that they forgot that they loved.
Yeah.
So it's about
and
taking
it's
action.
I'm just seeing that mouse on a wheel that does that every day, running around a wheel thing and going, how do I, you know, it's just the keep going. And, you know, it is about giving yourself permission to work out what you love, to study you, to observe you. And, you know, I've coached some of my clients to go and sit in a park or go and sit at the beach or whatever and observe and go, oh, how does that feel for me? What does fun look like, sound like, and feel like for you? Like, what does joy look like, sound like, and feel like? It might be playing with the kids in the park. It might be going for a swim in the ocean on your own. It might be getting a pedicure or a manicure or having an hour to yourself. That's okay. That's what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like for you. Give yourself permission.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a really good, I love the way that I talk about observing others, in that if we don't know, like with my clients, I say to them, if you don't know what you want, and 99% of them don't, choose some people that you think have a really fun life, and then write down what it is you think that's fun about their life, because deep down you are attracted to things that you're interested in. I had a guy that wanted to learn to play the ukulele. He said, oh, like it came out of the blue. And he said, sports guy, quite an executive and a rugby player. And he said, oh, but they'll all laugh at me. And I said, well, what do you want to do? Like, he's still this little boy worried about what other people think. Anyhow, so he taught himself on YouTube at home in hiding, and then whipped it out of the barbecue with all the guys he thought were going to criticize him, and they were cheering. And
nice.
if it makes you happy, that's all that matters. And it doesn't have to be some grandiose thing that gives you joy. It could be cross-stitching or building sandcastles or, you know, anything.
Yeah, and, you know, I love that because we all are different and we love different things and we experience different things and at different stages in our lives as well. You know, one year you might be, I want to experience adventure, and another year you might be just looking for peace and stillness, and that's okay. Just allow yourself to be that best version of you each and every day.
Yes. Do you think that people believe that they have to be a certain way and stick to that? I get that impression with some people where that's what I'm supposed to do and I can't deviate from that.
Yep.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's about allowing yourself to explore and discover and change your mind.
Yeah.
I've come across so many people who are afraid to change their mind.
Yeah.
It's like, no, go and play. Have some play. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's almost like we get up each and every day and we put clothes on. We don't put the same ones on every day. We put different outfits on each day to represent how we're feeling and what mood we might be in, whether we know it or not, and how we want to present ourselves in the world. And that might be casual and calm and chilled, or it might be professional, you know, coaching mode or whatever that might be, or it might be just going to sleep for the day and resting. It doesn't matter.
Oh, naps are fabulous. They're so good for you.
They are, aren't they?
I love naps, yeah.
Well, living in South America for 2.5 years, I kind of got used to the siestas in the middle of the day. And
that would have been
coming back to Western society, it's like, oh, I've got to readjust to no nap. So, yeah, I get that. And I think, you know, what is our best version of ourselves is really up to us. We don't have to have, and we don't have to have anybody else's permission to be that.
No. No. And isn't it funny how we think we have to wait for permission to be who we truly are?
Yeah.
And then when we are that, we still worry whether or not it's okay with everyone else.
Yeah.
If you're happy, that's all that matters. And if you change your mind every day, it doesn't matter. Like, just keep going until one floats your boat.
Yep, exactly. And I love that. So, Justine, I'm getting aware of time. Have you got one or two more tips that you would give people that are watching about how to embrace the best version of themselves?
I think you should pay attention to how you feel in every situation. Try new things all the time. Go to meetups, sit in a park or at the beach and look at other people. Pay attention to how you feel when you're around certain people. Like, quite often it does mean changing your circle of friends. Pay attention to how you feel when you're in certain locations, when you're doing certain things. So if you feel childlike and breathless and giddy and happy, whether you're a guy or a girl, because I've seen guys do it too, then that's great. Do that.
Yeah.
And if you feel uncomfortable and out of place and it's not quite right, pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So pay attention to how you feel and try lots of different things. Like, throw the whole basket of toys into the backyard and see which one the puppy wants to play with. And you do you, because you will be different. Everyone's different.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So thank you. And can you share with people where they can connect with you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram underneath my name, very original. And I also have a Facebook group called Epic Upgrade. And I have a wonderful platform I'm launching in about a month to 6 weeks, where I'll be able to work online with hundreds and hundreds of people all over the country, launching that probably through Facebook. Very visible, and my email address is coach.justine.dean@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing and for having a lovely flowy conversation about what we're both passionate about. I love it. So for those of you wanting to connect with me further and learn more about what I do, jump on my website, thebarefootmedium.com.au. You can also connect with me on Facebook, Leanne the Barefoot Medium, or on Instagram, the Barefoot Medium. And thank you so much again for joining me. I hope you've all enjoyed watching this episode. Hit the like button and subscribe to YouTube, and comment below and let us know what you think. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Barefoot TV.